The spotlight shines bright, but it doesn't reveal everything. Behind the curtain, some of music's biggest legends are fighting battles most of us never see.
I could feel myself slipping away, that it wasn't me anymore, and I could also feel that this wasn't going to last a lot longer.
One still takes the stage, even as his body grows weaker with every tour. Another records from a hospital bed, her voice trembling but unbroken. And one more, he's living on borrowed time, yet refuses to stop creating.
There's no time to be down, really. And I think keeping a positive outlook is very important.
These are stories of strength, survival, and the painful price of fame. This is famous musicians who have life-threatening illnesses.
I got the diagnosis that I had a clear renal carcinoma that had metastasized into my lung.
Brad Arnold's story begins not on stage, but in a hospital room he never expected to see. At 46, the Three Doors Down frontman felt a little sick, nothing more than what he assumed was a rough stretch on the road. But a round of tests revealed something far more devastating: clear cell renal carcinoma, the most common and aggressive form of kidney cancer in adults.
So I have no fear. I really sincerely am not scared of it at all.
And it hadn't stayed contained. It had already spread to his lung. Stage 4, the kind of diagnosis that stops most people cold. Arnold paused, then told fans in a quiet Instagram video, "I have no fear." For a moment, the man known for kryptonite wasn't a rock star. He was a husband, a believer, someone leaning hard on his faith as he announced the band's summer tour was canceled. "We serve a mighty God," he said, "and he can overcome anything." Those words landed like a vow, steady and unshaken. He thanked fans for decades of memories and admitted that one song, "It's Not My Time," suddenly felt written for this exact moment. Now 47, Brad Arnold faces the biggest battle of his life, but he's not backing down.
And I could feel myself slipping away, that it wasn't me anymore, and I could also feel that this wasn't going to last a lot longer.
"Lift me up in prayer every chance you get," he asked, and thousands already have.
Look after themselves in different ways and maybe take a trip around the world. Everyone has a different approach to dealing with AIDS.
Holly Johnson's story is one of brilliance shadowed by an era that wasn't ready for his truth. At 31, the Frankie Goes to Hollywood frontman learned he was HIV positive, a diagnosis that, in the early 90s, carried fear, stigma, and a crushing silence. When he finally shared it publicly in 1993, the reaction from the music industry was swift and cold.
There's no time to be down, really. And I think keeping a positive outlook is very important.
It was a bit like living in a desert for about 10 years, he recalled. Work dried up, calls stopped coming, and the same industry that once chased his band's explosive success suddenly kept its distance. But the gay community never let him fall. He performed in clubs, kept creating, and watched as his identity and his honesty became part of a wider cultural shift. Even now, he remembers how many artists were told to stay in the closet, how being openly gay and HIV positive made him dangerous to marketing teams focused on Middle America. Yet, he stayed visible. Today, at 65, Johnson is celebrated in the Holly Johnson Story Exhibition in Liverpool, a full-circle moment that honors his music, his art, and his fight to remain himself. "It's like winning the national lottery," he said. "A life once isolated is now showcased with pride."
A lot of times, like let's say for the pay-per-view HBO special we did, I was rolled out of the hospital in a wheelchair to the stage.
T-Boz. Watkins has spent her life defying predictions. At just 7 years old, doctors told her she wouldn't live past 30, couldn't have children, and would never lead a normal life. But the girl they underestimated grew up to become part of one of the best-selling girl groups of all time, TLC. Behind the fame, though, T-Boz has been fighting a painful, lifelong battle with sickle cell disease, a blood disorder that blocks oxygen flow and can cause agony so severe it leaves her hospitalized. "You can be in so much pain you get delirious," she said.
Title means so much for me. It's a strong word, a sick life, because I've had it all. I was told at 7 years old I would never live past 30. I would be disabled my whole life and never have kids. But I've traveled the world in TLC.
Her memoir, A Sick Life, chronicles that journey, the flare-ups that left her barely able to walk, the coma she fell into after giving birth to her daughter Chase, and the strength it took to recover from a brain tumor years later.
That was one of the hardest times in my life. I wasn't used to walking to the grocery store and seeing her face on a magazine with death numbers. It just was too much. I had a hard 4 years, I ain't gonna lie.
Even grief and loss, like the death of her bandmate Lisa, Left Eye Lopes, triggered her illness. Yet through it all, T-Boz refused to be defined by pain. Today, as a mother to Chase and her adopted son Chance, she says they give her the reason to keep fighting. "My life," she wrote, "and has been tinged with illness, but never controlled by it."
But it's just the other side. You can only do what you can do, and your physical side takes over and you get tired, you know.
Tony Iommi's battle began quietly, long before the world ever knew. At 63, the Black Sabbath guitarist, the man whose riffs helped invent heavy metal, sat in a consultation room at Heartland's Hospital and heard a word he didn't recognize: lymphoma. "What's that?" he'd asked, only to be hit moments later with the truth. The shock was immediate and immense. Treatment followed, and it saved his life, but it also reshaped how he saw hospitals, patients, and the invisible weight they carry. Now 77, Iommi has returned to the very place that treated him, not as a patient, but as someone determined to give back. He's raffling one of his own guitars, a mahogany Gibson SG he's played at home for years, to help raise £150,000 to refurbish the cancer center. Better chairs, better spaces, better comfort for people sitting through hours of chemotherapy. "The more comfortable you can make the patient, the better," he said, remembering how kindness from nurses carried him through his darkest days. Just weeks earlier, he'd stood beside Ozzy Osbourne for the band's emotional final reunion, their first performance together in 2 decades, just 17 days before Ozzy's passing. Even in grief, even after his own fight, Tony Iommi keeps showing up for others. Their songs once ruled the charts. Now they fight for something far greater than fame. Illness may threaten their bodies, but it hasn't dimmed their spirit. Which of these stories moved you most, and do you think artists have a duty to keep performing, even when it risks their health? If you want to honor these icons and their resilience, hit like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more stories that celebrate the human side of fame. Thank you for watching.